Hello and welcome to this video series where we're checking out submissions to the Dungeoncrawler Gamejam of 2023. This time we will have a look at Dullahan and the Brain, or Dullahan and the Brain. Well, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, and that's also true for the name of the creator, Jacobabarbary, I think. You can read it here, Jacobabarbary, who is doing the programming, or did the programming, and Jake Stafford, who did the music and sound effects. Also, there's art by Pixel Titan. And yeah, the description is very brief here. WSD is movement, Q&E is rotation, GUI is mouse. Alright, in combat you play as mind as body and a body. The mind will buff the body's attacks. Your dice are the blue ones. Alright, and with that, let's jump into the game. Alrighty, so... and the controls are not working, which I think is due to the web, being a web-based game. Alright, 1 second. And next try, there's also a little bit of an issue with the controls here. If we move forward, we do... I'm not even sure if YouTube is showing that. Probably not, because we are moving forward and there is a transition. You can see that the screen is actually reloading. So you can see the wall in front of me, forward, but if I move forward, I think now it was captured. I'm not quite sure, because it's just basically 1 frame or so where you can see that something is loading, but the tile you're landing on looks exactly the same as the tile you're coming from. So I would recommend to change the texture just a bit every step so that you have a sense of moving forward. Now it looks like I'm just standing there, and yeah, it's a bit problematic. Okay, so we are fighting against a weird clown person. Okay, we have 1 second. We have a percentage here and here. Enemy dice are halved. Rally body rolls below 3 change to 6. So the mind should buff, right? Enemy dice are halved. Okay, let's use this. Cranium split. Okay, that's selected now, apparently. Headless slam. I don't know what that means. Meditate. Healing salve. Okay, let's use the attack. I didn't see anything. Apparently we did some damage. Yeah, maybe it would be nice to actually see the results I rolled. Yeah, that's a bit quick. The same problem with moving. Oh, and there are tons of spawns, and we can't really explore anything. Our body took quite some damage, so we should probably heal the body. Body rolls below 3 are changed to... Let's take that. Okay. And you could see that with the rolls, they are just changing the eyes all the time, which then you don't need a rolling animation if they are just changing like crazy. I'm not sure if we can actually heal this. Heal mind. Okay. Let's use this to make sure that we got some decent healing. Alright. I mean, we can see that it's minus 17, basically. it's using lesser heal. But I think the communication during combat isn't exactly great. Yeah. Regarding the perspective, I think that's pretty much perfect. So we can see some wall of left and right. I think the height is about right. We can see the floor we are standing on. So that's all cool. And the navigation itself is also fine because it's basically instant. It's just that the visual representation of moving is seriously lacking. We need to heal the body. And here it doesn't feel like there's much tactics involved. Like, it sounded nice with the spirit is buffing the body, but we basically can just... This is basically whether or not, or where we want... actually the decision here is pretty much random. This is just giving... Both are basically giving you a more clear outcome. This is reducing the enemy damage, and this is increasing whatever you are doing. It doesn't feel like this is making much of a difference, and then you're back to just attacking and healing. And the communication here is... I feel it's lacking. I don't think that the dice are adding anything. Essentially, you're just looking at the numbers anyways, because the dice are lying. Alright, let's heal the mind. And go with more... Yeah, I can as well just keep the rally all the time. Oh, that didn't work. Yeah, and I'm not a fan of just being spammed by random attacks here. Okay. Yeah, and this result is so quick. It also doesn't really feel like I'm able to do much here. I mean, we can just decrease the enemy rolls all the time to basically make sure that there are no, like, freak rolls against us. Heal mind. I think now we are back at the start, right? Yeah. Alright. Heal body. Again. Attack. Attack. And here. Attack. Here. The graphics here in this screen are nice. Also, the graphics here in Exploration are nice, but of course the variety of the graphics is basically 0. Heal Mind. Giggle Whammy. Lesser Heal. Lesser Heal. Why is it doing a lesser heal if it's still at 100%? There's light at the end of the tunnel. I made it! I'm finally free! Alright. Okay. Can we restart it though? Give me 1 second. Alright, so just to quickly summarize that. So the perspective is great in itself. But because all the tiles are looking the same, you hardly see that you're moving. So I think there should be some variety in the graphics when you move. Maybe I think they are just. I'm not quite sure how this engine is working, but it seems like it's 3D. So maybe the repetition of the tiles is exactly like the tile size. I'm not sure, but yeah, it would need to change so that you have a feeling of movement, or make a movement animation. But I think the like the controls here are fine. Let's see. Yeah, I mean they are perfectly fine. So the controls are, the navigation would be perfect if it's just if there was some variety in there. The combat, yeah, I don't think that this is super interesting, because essentially you're doing, I think it's the best to just keep the mind doing the same all the time, reducing the enemy damage so that you don't have these spikes where you suddenly die. And then the body is basically just attacking or healing, so it's extremely basic. I mean, it kind of works, and I wouldn't say much if... I would probably say the same, but I wouldn't rate it as highly as if the game had some other content, like if you had some exploration and then the combat was just a little side thing. But in this game, basically, it's all about the combat, because that's just the one aspect in the game, right? You from start to finish, you have to do the combat, and there's basically nothing else. So the combat should be interesting, which unfortunately it's not really. Yeah, content-wise, the game is very on the low end. I'm not personally, I'm not a fan of random encounters in general, but I guess that in this game, this is the only thing there is. So I can see the point. You're probably supposed to make a map to find the ending without triggering tons of enemies. I mean, I made it out without that. Made it through without that, but yeah. So content-wise, it's not really strong. The duality I can see with the mind and body. That's an interesting idea. It's not, yeah, because the mechanics on the mechanical side, it's not very strong. I don't feel that it's going through much. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely there, and it's a nice idea. Generally, like with Mad Max, I don't know the names, but there you had this like body and the gnome on the back who's giving the orders, the mind. So that was an interesting idea. The sound was, I mean, there's the music. There are no steps. You have different music in combat. I'm not... Yeah, and you have the dice rolls. And budut, but that's pretty much it, right? Heal body. Heal body. Yeah, the dice thing is, of course, if the face of the dice is just changing all the time, I don't see much of a point in showing the dice at all. Let's seal up. And now we are back at attacking. And the graphics here are nice in combat, the enemy visualization. So yeah, I mean it is a nice entry. It's just very basic on most levels. And that's Dullahan or Dullahan of the and the Brain. It sounds like something Irish, but I don't know. By Jacobabarbary and Jake Stafford. Yeah, and if you're interested in checking out the game yourself, you can find a link down in the video description to the HIO page. And if you're interested in seeing more videos about the jam, you can find a playlist there with all the entries I did so far. And if you're interested in seeing more future videos, you can also subscribe to the channel. And with that, thank you for watching and hope to see you again next time. Bye bye.